if you do have a card that has like a 12, like a 12-month 0% APR, I think that's can be helpful too for anybody who's just buying a house. Just like, if it's hard to pay off some of these things immediately, I mean, it's nice to have that to be able to float for a few months for anybody. Because it's someone, you got to pay down payment, and closing costs, if you can't negotiate it, and now you got to furnish the house. So it's like if you can do a 12-month 0% APR, it definitely helps float in some cases, definitely.
That is true. The 0% financing offers on credit cards have been insanely valuable for me. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I am here with the legendary Anthony Venture, the Hilton King, and then I'm also here with the equally as legendary Calby NG, who's here, well, to tell us all about his wonderful new experience in owning a home now. And since we're all homeowners, that we just go ahead and kind of talk about what our experience was and, well, what kind of credit card lessons we learned along the way. So my first week of being a homeowner, I got one of those huge bucket hats to do yard work at, and that's lifesaver.
Best
Oh, wow.
investment. What card you put it on?
That was actually on the Amazon card because I
Ah.
got it on Amazon, so 5% back.
Nice.
All right, speaking of Amazon cards, Anthony, how is your homeownership experience going?
It's been good. It's been good. We've been moved in for I don't know, maybe about 10 months now, something like that. It's coming up on a year, which is kind of
Nice.
crazy, a couple months from now. And it's been a good experience. So, as Kelby said, I'm a real estate agent. And so, when I bought this house, I was able to represent myself on the deal. So, this way, I was
Oh,
able to
wow.
buy the house and also earn my own commission because, I'm not using another agent who would normally get paid. I'm an agent, so might as well pay me. So, I got about so the house after commissions, and I won't say exact numbers, but we ended up getting like after buying the house, I ended up getting like 5K cash and commissions back to me.
Oh, wow.
And throughout the process, I was like, okay, what are all the ways that I can take all these expenses that are coming along with this house and funnel it into hit credit card welcome offers? And the one thing I found throughout the process is you have to pay for a lot of things in real estate, most of which are not able to be put on a credit card. So, like when you go through the house
Mm.
process where you do a down payment, you can't really do that with a credit card. I'm sure there's some tricky ways, but nothing that I'm going to talk about here. Nothing that I personally did. So down payment, you really can't do a credit card. Closing costs, paying the lender fees, all those different things, you really can't use a credit card for the most part. Where you can use a credit card to, fund at least some of the expenses during the process is you normally, depending on your state, have to pay for a couple of things. One is when you're just going through due diligence, like the first 2 weeks of the home buying process, and you're under contract and all that. You're going to have to buy an inspection. And at least if you're in South Carolina, I'm not sure the other states, you have to have a termite inspection to make sure there's no
Oh,
termites and
yeah.
stuff like that. You need that to be able to get through to closing at the end. There's ways that you don't have to, but for the most part, most houses require termite inspection to get done. So if you're doing a home inspection plus a termite inspection, at least here I pay about $500 for that. So I put that all on whatever credit card I was working on at that time, probably like a Chase Inc. Unlimited, something like that, during that time. So that's about $500. And then when you talk to the banks and you're going under contract, the banks will send out an appraiser to make sure your house is worth what you are offering on the house. Because if you offer a 300K offer on a house, but the house is only worth 280, the bank's not going to lend on 300. They're only going to lend on 280. So they send an appraiser out. That is a payment that you have to pay for and can be done with a credit card. That's another like $500. So about $1,000 total for the
Wow.
amount of expenses that you can put forward when buying a house that you could be using for a credit card. And really, I guess there's technically some ways, like if you have a renovation loan of some sort, and there's ways you can work out a deal with the contractors in which you could pay credit cards. I'm sure there's a way to kind of do that. But for the most part, most people who are buying a house, it's like appraisals and inspections, and that's the only type of way that you're using a credit card to um, at least during the home buying process. Now, after, to maximize credit card, welcome offers and spend and stuff like that. After that, when you actually move in, as Phil said earlier, he used his Amazon Prime card. And honestly, like the welcome offer right now of $250, this is something that my wife got back in November, a couple months after we moved in. She got a welcome offer of like $200 on the Amazon Prime card and used that to get little things around the house, or anything you could buy on Amazon that can maybe furnish the house in some way. You can use that welcome offer to help you with those expenses. So at least that's the entire process, I would say, as far as like buying the house and then afterwards. And that was all the expenses that I could possibly think of. And I tried every other way to use a credit card in some way, and it's not really possible, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
that was my process so far. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. It's interesting that you say that, because I don't know if you had this experience, but when I was going through the inspection process, I had to use two. Well, I didn't have to use two inspectors, but I bought two inspections. And when I bought those two inspections, they said that if you paid by check, we can give you a 5% discount. And I'm like, yeah, there's, unless I'm, going towards a welcome bonus, which I wasn't at the time. I'm like, that's better than most other credit cards, so I'm just going to use a check.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
5% cash back for check.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very good point. Absolutely. Yeah, I guess it depends what's worth it to you. Like if you're just 500 away from hitting the sub, or it's just 500 of $5,000, then maybe take that 5% off every time. Yeah, that's true. If you do have a card that has like a 12 month 0% APR, I think can be helpful too for anybody who's just buying a house. Just like, if it's hard to pay off some of these things immediately, I mean, it's nice to have that to be able to float for a few months for anybody, because it's someone, you got to pay down payment and closing costs if you can't negotiate it, and now you got to furnish the house. So it's like if you can do a 12 month 0% APR, it definitely helps float in some cases, definitely.
That is true. The 0% financing offers on credit cards have been insanely valuable for me, because we had a hurricane knock down some of our fence that we had to pay for, and other fun things. So yeah, fun things. So my wife and I bought our house, I guess, almost 3 years ago now. And first of all, so when we started buying the house, we actually put offers on 10 properties and were outbid soundly with cash deals. So a lot of people moving. So about 3 years ago, a lot of people moving down to Florida, and a lot of those people had sold their house in, say, California, things like that, had a lot of money to play with. And so we didn't. So we lost out on 10 offers. But then this house actually was a friend of a friend's. And so it was on the market, but they weren't really like trying too hard. And so we were able to kind of get like a deal going. But my house actually failed the inspection because the roof was aging, and they actually ended up using a particular type of plastic in the plumbing that was banned. So basically the two things that had to happen before that any house could go, or any deal could go forward, was the roof needed to be replaced and the plumbing needed to be replaced. So we actually ended up negotiating where the seller took on that responsibility. So that was nice. We got a new roof and then new plumbing, and which honestly, a part of me wishes that we had been responsible for the plumbing part, because they kind of went with the lowest bidder and the drywall work was less than optimal. But it is what it is, right? But then afterwards, so this house was built in 1995, so it's definitely not a new build compared to like what some of you guys have had, just a chance to deal with. But we had to replace the floor because it was bamboo floors, but there were holes worn down in like significant parts of it, in like the high traffic areas. And one of the fun things about this house is it's not level. And so like, you have to have kind of like self-leveling stuff and like kind of other fun things. Housing standards in the 90s were just all over the place, apparently. So we had to replace the flooring, and then we also ended up actually redoing the bathrooms because they hadn't been updated since then. So we had a couple big projects pretty much immediately. And so what we did was we actually we worked with the floor guy, and he actually set us up with put us onto the idea of the Wells Fargo. I think it was the Active Cash, and that had a 0 APR offer on it, so we paid for that on there, and he accepted that. And I don't think there was actually too much of a fee. Don't remember exactly, but to doing that. So we put that on that card. That was like 13,000 right off the top. And then we actually did the bathroom renovations pretty much on our own. We just bought the cabinets and everything on Lowe's, and then bought the tiles and put them up ourselves. And the only thing that's really not done is the showers, which we're going to need some help with eventually. But so that was our first month. Oh, and then we painted the whole house too. So stripped all the floors, painted the house, redid 2 bathrooms first couple months, which was very overwhelming. Well, awesome. Now that we've kind of talked about our experiences, I think the first thing that I want to talk about is ways to save on homeowner expenses. So this can include, I think we talked about like trips at Costco. It could include trips to the home and garden store. What are some tips that we've seen so far?
Definitely Costco has came in major for me. Like a lot of the things that you want to buy as a homeowner are at Costco, and especially you have the executive membership, you're getting on top of your credit card points that 2% back, and by the end of the year it can stack up quite a bit. Like I was still renting at the time, but last year I got like a check for like $80, and $80 isn't like that grand or anything, but it's still $80 back in my pocket, right?
Absolutely. And if I remember correctly, I think that check is like you have to redeem it in one shopping trip at a Costco. Is that right, or did they change the redemption on that?
Last time, so I redeemed it 2 times. The first time they gave me straight cash for it, so I just deposited in my
Oh,
bank,
cool.
used the credit card, and then used that cash to pay it off. The second time they gave me a Costco shop card, so that was pretty
Oh,
interesting.
okay. Nice. All right. The Costco shop card, honestly, it seems, if you go regularly, it's not really that difficult to use, it seems like.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially too with the Costco, I don't know, like tip or way, you can give someone a Costco gift card, and even though they don't have a membership, they can get into a Costco and buy the Costco stuff using that gift card without the membership. So technically, you don't have to buy a membership, but you need someone to give you that gift card, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. They got the king of gift cards.
Right.
Oh, God.
That's awesome. So basically, so one thing that is interesting. So this is the Apple card for those of you that can't see. And before I had the Mesa card, this is actually a pretty good homeowner card because you get 3% cash back at Ace Hardware stores, which there's a couple near me that I actually use for like to get a lot of those access to those things. The prices are pretty comparable. Some things are a little bit more on, some things are a little bit less on. But whenever I have like a quick trip or something, I actually just use this, and that gives me 3% back on, Ace Hardware stores, which is actually kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird thing for the Apple Card to have, but they also get, I think, 3% back on like Panera and Nike. But Ace Hardware stores come in clutch for me on that one.
Especially nice too that you get that immediately, and you can, like, if you wanted to, just deposit it into a savings account, make sure it grows even more.
That's right. Yeah. I definitely have all that deposited to the Apple savings account, which is a high yield savings account. It's definitely less high than it used to be, but it's still pretty high. It's better than just the standard like Chase savings account interest rate.
Now here's something that I might have to convert you to. I
Oh
might have
yeah.
to convert you to the Wealthfront savings account. Theirs is
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit higher than the Apple, and if you're closing on a house, you can do a direct transfer for $0,
Whoa.
a wire
That's
transfer.
actually that's really nice. Okay.
All right.
I'll have to check out Wealthfront.
The back end credit cards, again, I think that Amazon Prime card was pretty cool. At least getting 5% back on buying anything from Amazon was cool. But then also that welcome offer of 200 or or any other like referrals that we may get because we make videos on it. So she was able to get a good amount of referrals, and she was able to buy more things for the house with those said referrals. So I think that was really good. Um, other than that, not necessarily. As far as like how could I maximize a particular card, I didn't realize the Ace Hardware thing that you mentioned with the Apple card. That's pretty interesting. That's something I would definitely look into, because ASAR brand, it's got everything. So I think that's pretty cool.
They
Um,
do.
the only thing I will say that kind of sucks a little bit more as being a homeowner for most people is that when I was renting, I was able to put all of those expenses easily on a credit card, and you could hit
Oh yeah,
so many different welcome offers on rent spend. But when you get the mortgage, it gets a little bit harder to get done. But it's a little bit much harder to hit those welcome offers in that case. But yeah, that's what I would say for me is if you can work it out on the deal afterwards. Yeah, I don't know. Just regular welcome offers. They've just been putting everything on an ink card or any welcome offer that we're working on. We'll put the housing expenses on that. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we always try to plan our sign up bonus structure around if we're doing a major trip because or a major purchase like with homeowners because if you're going to make a significant purchase of a couple $1,000s, like having that an extra sign up bonus that you wouldn't have access to before really just kind of makes it hurt a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very true.
It's kind of interesting you were bringing up, because my house is a new build. I had to like furnish a bunch of stuff versus, you got everything already in the house, even probably even more than you needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so when I first went into this house, I applied for the Altitude Go Connect, the really long name one. It's blue, and I just really wanted that card because it was a good travel card. It's $0, and you get TSA PreCheck, global entry, and 4 priority passes completely, basically for free. I guess you just need to apply for it. And it had a 15 or 12-month 0% financing. So I'm like, it's not the best welcome bonus, but what I really wanted to do was push those purchases just in case I didn't know what to expect when paying a mortgage and everything. So when I first moved into this house, since nothing was included, I had to buy blinds on that. I spent $1,000 on just blinds
Oh
alone.
yeah.
Yeah, refrigerator also was a big expense, and our couch was ruined from our apartment, so I had to put that onto that card. So it was kind of a lot, but thankfully I'm able to spread it out. And after paying a mortgage for maybe 1-2 months now, I kind of understand my finances a little bit more, so it makes it easier, just having that security.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And I'm glad you talked about the furniture thing because I think Anthony, we've talked about it a little bit. I think one of my worst cards that I own, sadly, is the City Furniture card, which is it's a large furniture supply store that's in this area. And I signed up for it, so it's a store card only. You can't use it anywhere else. It's not. I'm not finding it, but anyway. So what do you guys think about like store furniture cards? So the reason why I got it was because it had deferred interest of I think it was like 18 months or something, and I definitely made sure to pay it off because Synchrony loves their deferred interest and hitting people up with that. What do you think about using one of those cards versus say a different card or something like that?
Personally, I was looking into it and I just didn't make sense of furniture cards. Like some of them, I believe the Lowe's card you can get like 60 months or something, which is a long period of time. That's, very nice. But some of the store furniture cards, like I bought my couch off Lovesac, they also have their own store card, probably similar to the City Furniture card that you're referring to. But they only gave like 15, 12 months or 18 months. And I'm like, they
That's
don't give
true.
any multipliers. They don't give any welcome bonuses. Why not just apply, for example, like for the Chase Freedom Unlimited, 15 months, you get that $200 and after $500 to spend and use those points for either travel or if you wanted to cash back, 1 cent per point cash back. I thought it was pretty powerful. So personally, I didn't really look into many store cards.
Yeah, I definitely understand that because first of all, there wasn't a sign up bonus, and the thing is about like the store cards, like it's still a trade line, so it still hits your it still goes towards your 524 status. It still hits your credit account and all that. So, yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of downside, and compared to some other options, there's not really a lot of upside either.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very similar to Calby. I'm just like, if you're gonna If the goal is just like 0% APR, and and it's like not all store cards are as generous. Like I remember looking at the Big Lots. We were furnishing a lot from Big Lots, because it's just like pretty cheap stuff. Their credit card has like I think it's only like 6 month 0 APR,
Mhm.
with obviously if you miss payments or if you don't pay it all off by the end of the 6 months, you have to pay all of the back interest that you would have accumulated over those 6 months. So it's like, man, it's just kind of a slippery slope for the general population, I would say. But for anybody in our game, and I think anybody not in our game, I mean, if there's a way to, yeah, like Calby said, a Freedom Unlimited gets some cash back, or in my case, I was using Ink Unlimiteds and, using that 0% APR. And if the worst case, if you want to cash out the points that you earn from the welcome offer, like 75,000 points, $750 is also good. And it could pay for a couch. It could pay for a lot of different things. So, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, if you can maximize some sort of a point or cashback offer plus 0% APR, that's just going to beat out everything else on the market, I would say. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that you bring that up with store cards. So Big Lots, I think you can only use it once, and it's not that large of a time. But it's interesting that you bring up deferred interest, because I use the Best Buy credit card, and that one's pretty nice. Why I really like it is you can defer interest. Like, it's not just the first purchase; you can defer it. Like, if you make a purchase after having the card for 2 years, as long as you spend a certain amount, you can defer it for 18 months or 24 months, depending on the promo. But they do have that deferred interest. So that's something definitely to worry about when you're, applying for these other credit cards. If for some reason you're not able to pay off that full balance, you'll start accruing interest during that time. Like, for example, the Chase Freedom Unlimited. When you make that purchase after 15 months, maybe you still have like $1,000 left to still pay off that card, the interest starts there. But when you apply for like a Best Buy credit card, a Big Lots credit card, if you don't pay off the amount of money that you're supposed to pay it off during that time, all that interest follows you back, and it just charges as a lump sum. And when I was looking at it on my Best Buy credit card, so I'll finance something like for 18 months, it'll say, if you don't pay off this card within like the last 18 months, this is how much interest we're going to charge you. And most of the time, it ends up being more than what you pay for the item.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's actually a particular store that is insane. It's called Aaron's, and
Oh
Yeah.
like I didn't know the kind of game that this kind of store played, but I was looking at their website and looking at some of their deals. I was like, they allow for everything to be put on layaway, essentially, Klarna, whatever. They have their own payment, programs. But I was looking at it, I was like, oh, if you want to buy an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One controller, normally it's like $50. They're like, okay, cool. You could finance that with Aaron's, and it'll be like 36-month uh with minimum payments. And I was looking at it amortized, and it was like after 36 months the controller ends up costing you like $300 or something like that. It went from 50 to $300. I was like, wow, I didn't realize they're financing like every aspect of life for people.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most dangerous companies for sure.
It really is.
In terms of that, I couldn't believe it. Like lawnmowers, Xbox controller, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Your life on layaway.
Yeah.
That's how you do
And
it.
it's worse than layaway. Like Rent-A-Center is one that like my mom was a fan of growing up, and it's like they make it sound like it's affordable and it's normal to pay a weekly payment on a couch, and it's not. It's super duper not.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, like if you don't pay the right way, you don't even own the thing, so they can repossess your couch, which is just a random thing to be able to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you pay so much more. It's just insane.
Yeah, imagine coming over and taking your couch away.
Get the towing truck, repo it.
Right.
They should do a company or a TV show, like how you have Operation Repo, or like Lizard Lick Towing and stuff like that. They should have like Aaron's Towing or something, and then they just take away your couches. Like, man, I'm sleeping here.
Oh man,
You
I
would
would
take my
watch that
couch.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Now taking my
Where am I gonna
Xbox
sleep?
controller. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about like earning rewards on some of these purchases. So we talked about some Costco purchases, we talked about Ace Hardware purchases, and we talked a little bit about store cards. But like, what's the best strategy for it? Let's say if we know, we'll keep the couch analogy. If we know that we're going to make a couch purchase, what are the next steps? How do we optimize credit card rewards, things like that, to make that happen?
Hmm. I would
Definitely
say,
100%. Oh, sorry.
yeah, you
You go
got it.
on. No.
Yeah, I mean, if I know that there's some purchases coming up, and this is exactly what I'm doing right now, whether it be either home expenses or honestly just like any expenses coming up, vacations and stuff like that, I'm just like immediately I'm jumping on a new card, immediately jumping on a new card welcome offer, and I'm just constantly running through that like throughout the entire year. So yeah, if I knew that there was like my water heater is definitely something that's going to have to be replaced fairly soon. It's I think it's literally an original in this house. Is It's about 20 years old, so
Wow.
it's definitely got to be on its last legs for sure. And I'm like, all right, that's going to be probably $1,000 for the unit and the cost of labor. So I'm like, all right, I'll either, well, I technically do have insurance for that through my gas company and also a home warranty. But I'm assuming that I'm gonna just get impatient and just want to buy one immediately. So with that, I'm probably gonna, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably just end up putting it on all the welcome offers. I'm working on a Marriott Boundless right now, so I'm like, all right, I'll probably just put it towards that. To be honest, for me,
Yeah,
Nice.
that balance offer is nice. Did you get the 5 night free?
yeah, yeah,
That's good.
mm-hmm.
That's good.
Such
You
a
can use
fun.
that at the JW Marriott down here. They usually have pretty good availability for that kind of point space.
Oh, really? Around 50K? Oh, that's good to know. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
the one
found
card that I'm
one.
getting without knowing fully where I'm going to use it yet. But I was like, I'm just about to go over 524, so I was like, I don't want to go to 524 and not get a chase card. I don't want to like go all in now and just not get my last. So I was like, screw it, I'll do this in the Amazon card, and then I'm good. Open
Yeah,
season now.
I feel like Marriott's probably one of the better programs for that, just because they're going to have a place where you can use those points somewhere, whether or not it's going to
Mhm.
be at the at the Courtyard or at the Ritz Carlton is going to be based on when you pick the dates essentially. So you
That's
know
true.
that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was looking at some of the portals. So I was looking at Rakuten and Capital One offers. So at Lowe's right now in Rakuten, you get 6 points per dollar. I have membership rewards points as my payout for Rakuten, on top of anything else you get just by using a credit card. So if I were to use something on Lowe's, and I'm going to go into my extra wallet and pull out my Mesa homeowner card, because this gets 3 points per dollar at
Nice.
specifically at Lowe's. And so I get 3 Mesa points, 6 American Express points per dollar. And this one actually has a Lowe's credit of $30 each quarter that you get back. So, yeah, so this is a really great way to kind of optimize for that kind of spend if you are going to go to Lowe's, which it definitely seems like a lot of homeowners kind of go to a home improvement store. I feel like people are either Lowe's people or Home Depot people. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of overlap.
I'm gonna have to convert some of y'all because I don't know if Home Depot has this, but I like to shop at Lowe's. Not only can they price match with Home Depot, I do notice that Home Depot has some of the lower prices, but Lowe's has a rewards program, and I like stacking that as well because after I believe $100 a purchase, you get $5 back, and I think that's easy money.
That is nice. I haven't really been into their rewards program yet, but I'm gonna have to make sure I do that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That sounds awesome. Now,
Yeah,
do
you
you
do
have
bring up.
the? Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
You do bring up a good point with I didn't really think about it, but lately we have been using like Rakuten for like I don't know, pet supplies or anything like that. So it's actually a good point. Just like go through like if you have to buy anything from any store ever, just like go on Rakuten first, see what they got as an offer, and yeah, you could get some good stuff back. 100% on that. Forgot about it.
Mhm. Definitely Chase offers too. Amex offers definitely big. Petco is usually always on Chase offers, so definitely 5% back, pretty big.
Mm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Petco is another really big one. We have a dog who always needs something. Now, as a fan of Lowe's, Calby, would you ever consider getting the My Lowe's Rewards credit card?
So I was looking at it, and it's kind of funny. My dad isn't really into credit cards, but he will apply for it just because, he's the type of guy that when he gets it in the mail and it says $100, $200 back, he'll be like, "Where can I get that?" And then he'll apply for it. He kind of did that with Lowe's, except not really the welcome bonus side. He was just like 5% back. That's higher than my other cards, and he applied for it, but I'm just like, I don't know. Because the store cards, you have to be locked into that system. You have to buy Lowe's, you have to buy at Home Depot, wherever you get that store card from. But I kind of a little bit like the flexibility. So, like the city custom cash, 5% back at home improvement stores. And, I was definitely thinking about getting that card for all the home improvement compared to being locked into that system. The only thing that I like with the store cards is that like supreme time length for the financing, like 60 months.
Mm.
I don't think you can beat that with any credit card. So definitely, if you're buying water heater, buying those large purchases, I could definitely see that aspect being a pretty powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah, and sometimes like the special access to the financing can trump any of these concerns because 6 points per dollar is great, but if you're going to end up paying an interest, then that kind of wipes away any of that, honestly. So yeah, that's going to be a big deal.
I was gonna just put it back on you. What were your thoughts with the Lowe's and Home Depot cards? Because I believe there's three of them, and I just kind of want to know, as established homeowners, how you feel about these home improvement cards.
Yeah, I don't currently have any of them yet, but
Mm.
honestly, I am kind of thinking about the Lowe's card, just because there is a sign up bonus. It's up to $100 right now. It's 20% off your eligible first purchase
Hmm.
after opening the card, up to $100, which is nice. And you get five access to the 5% back every day, which is nice. So if you're someone who is kind of locked into that brand, that's a decent option, right?
Yeah.
The only thing is like, the three Mesa points per dollar is pretty nice for me.
Mm.
I might even consider that over 5% cash back because, well, the Mesa transfer partners aren't that strong now. They do have access to Aeroplan, SAS, and Finnair, among some others. And honestly, the Accor program is pretty good as far as hotels go. There's definitely a low kind of value ceiling, but that's also the floor. Like every has a guaranteed point value, which is nice. So I do like the idea of getting 5% back on that. But then, like you said, Calby, you have the city custom cash, or you can do like the Mesa card. Like there's other ways to get a decent amount of transferable point currencies in with that kind of purchase, which personally I kind of value a little bit more.
Yeah, I've definitely looked into it. I didn't know about that welcome offer of like 20%, 25% up to
Mm.
$100. It's actually pretty cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just never really looked into it too much, at least at this time, just because I haven't had to. I don't know. It's like it's so tough for me because I agree that those are really good cards to get some money back. I don't even know about the Home Depot card, but definitely the Lowe's card. I know my father-in-law has it, and he's always like, "Oh yeah, you should get the Lowe's card." And I'm like, I know you can get 5% back. Like it's pretty powerful. It's like akin to getting an Amazon card, 5% back. Amazon, cool. Just like all those purchases. It's just like it's hard for me to consider anything at the moment with just constant welcome offers of different cards. So I'm just like, if I have to go to Lowe's and buy a smoke alarm, it's like, okay, cool. I put it on this Boundless or something like that, or my AA card. So while I agree, I think for saving on every day and you're not constantly running through subs, 100%, I think get a Lowe's card. Just go there for all of your expenses, 5%, especially like when you're going and moving. We frequently went to a couple of these stores. So like we went to Lowe's, we went to Home Depot to rent a truck to move everything from our apartment to there. So we rented basically like a box truck from these places, and they can get a little bit pricey, a couple $100 at a time to rent it for the entire day. And
Yeah.
so with that, you could be earning 5% back on all those purchases, depending on the company. Lowe's has some pretty good. I will say I like Home Depot a little bit better for rentals. They're a little bit faster. Lowe's is kind of slow, at least the places that I went to. Like they just like, I don't know, I guess they don't do it as often, but they definitely have nice box trucks. They have some good pickup trucks that you can go and like, you know, load up a big couch or a dresser or something like that, throw it on there. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think those cards are great. And if you can get 5% and all that, that's money. Absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
know. Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I don't know if you all know this, but is it at Home Depot that you have the Home Depot credit card that you have access to the 1 year return policy, or does everybody have access to that? Do you know?
Not sure.
It is specifically listed as a benefit of the card. It says
Right.
1 year
'Cause that's
hassle-free
powerful.
returns. Refer to the Home Depot returns policy for details. So I'll have to check that out. But it is specifically called out as a benefit of the card. So that's interesting.
I know that was definitely big for my dad because yeah, he came over for Memorial Day. He bought like a big door. He wanted to install like a door in one of our like rooms that didn't have a door, and he just didn't have enough time for it. And we were thinking about returning it, and I'm like, "Can you return it? It's only like 30 days, and he won't be back until like July." And he was like, "No, I have the Home Depot credit card. I can return things up to 1 year." I'm like, "What? That's
That's
crazy."
amazing. Yeah.
Right? Definitely
That is
stronger
pretty
than a
cool.
lot of our other credit card benefits, like some American Express cards, return protection. We only have 90 days to do it. Still pretty good amount of time, but only 90 days.
That's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's like
That
the
is
best
pretty
case
cool.
scenario with the platinum card, right?
Yeah. Wow, full year to return, huh?
Yeah,
That's
right.
interesting. And every dad has a Home Depot card. I remember one day my dad
Yep.
came home. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got $8,000 limit." He bought a TV. The TV's still sitting in the hallway. Like he never actually installed it. I'm like, "What are you doing?" So maybe I gotta let him know. Like if you have that 1 year return policy, I gotta tell him, "Listen, you still have time." You know,
There you go. There you go.
that's interesting. I didn't know that. Hmm.
Yeah, great call out. I might have to get a Lowe's or Home Depot card and a Lowe's card by the time this video is done.
Hmm.
I think it's just a rite of passage.
Right? Yeah. You get the New Balance sneakers and a Home Depot card.
New Balance. Yeah,
It's like
which you could
how
probably get on Rakuten. New
Probably.
Balance.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Hmm. But oh, actually, I totally forgot. We had a on a kind of related note. When we moved in, our washer broke and it was started leaking on the floor and stuff like that.
Oh no.
And like I said earlier, I'm a little bit impatient with those sort of things. So I'm like, I was gonna have a warranty company come out. We have a year warranty that we also negotiated in the deal, but
Nice.
it takes so long for them to come out. They're like, oh, let's have a service call. You got to pay $60. They come out 2 weeks. I said, screw this, and they might not even cover it because of how old it is. I said, screw it. I'm just gonna buy one from Lowe's, I think, and again, put that on an ink card, hit a welcome offer with it, stuff like that. But what you said, I think, is huge. Not really so much for the credit card, but just like peace of mind. Like if you could just pay for them like an extra $50 to have them haul away the old equipment and put in the new one,
Absolutely.
100% worth it. I'm like, I'm not nickel and diming over $50 for them to remove a few 100 pound unit, and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, 100% on that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100%. That actually kind of reminds me of, so my wife and I recently replaced our mattress, I think last year, and it was around Black Friday. And so we knew exactly the mattress we wanted because we tested out some, we talked it over with our friends and stuff. And so what I was doing was I probably over the last the month before we bought it, I was monitoring the portals for offers. I was doing Amex offers, and then I was also checking like kind of other promotions that the businesses themselves were doing. And there was kind of a perfect storm. I forgot exactly the name of the company. It was like furniture.com or whatever. I forgot what the name of the actual company was, but it was a perfect storm where there was like, I think it was like 3 points per dollar on Rakuten. Plus
Hmm.
there was like $75 off an Amex offer. Plus there was like a 10% off coupon that I used for signing up for their like messaging system or whatever it was. And so between all those things, like I ended up saving like $200 off the cost of the actual mattress. Plus it was on sale. And then with that, I was like, able to actually, the delivery fee was only $50. And I was like, yeah, sure. Let's just throw that in there. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, we were able to definitely like stack up a lot of stuff. And then I used my Blue Business Plus for that one, and I got 2 Amex points per dollar, just on the regular purchase too. So, I definitely think that's one of the most proud things I've been on as far as like buying things with a credit card, because I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a good job.
Stack, stack, stack.
Yeah.
You ever think about the that Plum card? You ever think about the Amex Business, the Plum card, where it's like, I think you don't have to make a payment for like 2 months or something. You ever you ever think about that?
Yeah, I think it was Sebi that did a really good kind of breakdown on it. And it looks really interesting. I just feel like, I don't really like, especially when you think about like how you get the points back and the cash back, and then like how much the annual fee is. Like I just don't think I put enough spend
Yeah.
on it to make
Yeah.
it worthwhile. But yeah, like and honestly being able to pay, I think is like 2 months or something without interest is kind of nice, and that's a good way to kind of book that. But I think Calby made a good point. Like when homeowners are looking for interest, because these can be 10, 15, $20,000 purchases, being able to carry it out a couple years if possible is more beneficial, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is there a reason that you brought up the Plum card?
Oh no.
Oh,
Just because like it's just ways to game, delaying a payment on a big expense or something. That's all.
Does that go
Greg,
towards that's a charge card? It doesn't go towards the 5 credit card limit, does it?
Is it a charge card? Actually, I didn't know.
I'm not sure.
I didn't really
I
think
don't
of it.
remember.
It probably is. You're right. It should be.
Yeah, it's a charge card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then yeah, maybe.
We'll leave it in.
Yeah. Honestly, that whole the 5 credit card thing just frustrates me so much with American Express, because like I would have so many more cards if that were the case.
Legit. Yeah. I just
So, question for the chat: the Discover It did have 5% cash back on home improvement stores last January through March. Would that be compelling to use for you guys?
Yeah, I would say at the time, because 5% back, and you don't have. I didn't have any city custom cash. Personally, I didn't take advantage of it because I closed in end of April. So, especially if you get that Discover. Oh, sorry. Especially since you get that Discover, and if you got it within the 1 year, it would like double up your cash back. So 10% back.
That's
pretty
true.
Powerful.
That is true. Yeah, the 10% back, and then usually most of the time they have, I think it's like 18 months of no interest on purchases or balance transfers. Usually,
It usually
which is
depends. Oh, sorry. It
no,
usually
yeah,
depends. It usually depends based on if you get a pre-approval offer versus a mail offer, or just like applying directly on the website.
Gotcha.
And I don't know the last time that we had it, but I was just looking it up as we were talking. Well, actually, interestingly, I didn't know the. I guess it's the Bank of America Customized Cash. I think it has a home improvement section of 3% cash back, like maybe with no cap. I'm not sure. But I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, well, when's the last time the Freedom Flex had a home improvement category? The closest that I could see might have been. I don't know if it was recent. I thought I saw it recently, but now I'm only seeing articles in like 2021, so I'm not sure. But that would be also interesting. Freedom Flex with the cap of 1,500 to get 5%. I also love when you do get Amazon on the Freedom Flex 5%, or even PayPal, which I don't remember the last time we've seen it, but PayPal helps. You can buy so many things with PayPal nowadays, so maybe you can cover whatever those home improvement costs would be online if the company allows for PayPal. So I thought that was fairly interesting. But the Discover, yeah, I think so. Is it up to a cap though, and is it only like for 1 quarter? Like, is it?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's like 1,500.
The quarter, it has limits. I think up to $75 in cash back each quarter.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, not that I would jump out and go grab the card, but yeah, it's it's not a bad thing if you have it already, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up Amazon because I did want to talk about one kind of cool superpower with Chase. So Chase has, I forgot what they're called. I think, is it Planet or Pay Over Time, or is those both Amex words?
Uh,
Whatever it is. So they have a
Planet.
program
Yeah.
where you can pay over monthly periods without paying any interest on just regular Amazon purchases. Now, what that does mean is you give up the 5% cash back, but I think that's, if you're doing larger purchases, I feel like that's something people could be interested in doing. So, for example, last hurricane season, in Florida, we have tax holidays where they don't charge state sales tax on certain
Hmm.
things. And so, before the hurricane season started, there was a tax holiday on hurricane prep. So, I got one of those solar generator things, and so I saved on the taxes, and then I also got the 12% or the 12-month kind of 0% interest thing, and that was really great for us. Like we lose power, if the wind kind of goes a little bit, and so like being able to have a backup for a refrigerator and our internet and stuff is really important to me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, let me ask you all. I feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like after becoming a homeowner, when I was in an apartment and everything, I'm like, oh, I'll just buy a lot of things online. I just didn't need to go in the store. But maybe, maybe it's like I said, just me. But after owning a home, I'm like, no, I have to go in the store, touch it, see it, and sometimes gives me like anxiety just to buy it online. There's some things that I'm okay buying online, but I'm like, no, I have to see it in the store, which kind of helps that Rakuten, you can load up your credit cards. So if you make an in-store purchase, you can get some Rakuten points back, even some built points back. So that's pretty
Hmm.
cool, but definitely losing out on a lot if you buy in-store compared to online. But I don't know. How do you guys feel?
Uh, well, actually, I didn't know that. You can with Rakuten, you can set it up so that you buy something in store and get all the benefits.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Okay.
it's kind of few and far between, but you have to give them like a particular code at checkout in store. But
Ah.
I haven't tried it, to be perfectly honest, because I don't trust the system that much. But it's in theory works.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Sometimes I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. Everyone will kind of get on me, but sometimes I'll go onto Rakuten. I'll make the purchase in store. I'll go onto Rakuten, go onto the website, turn on Rakuten, and then go back into Rakuten and kind of go through the history and go like, I'm missing my points. Uh, I'm missing my
Oh, that's
points,
nice.
so can I have my points back? And most of the time, if I show them the receipt and show them everything, they'll still give me the points back.
Oh,
Ah,
great. That's
interesting.
awesome.
Putting us onto some game, I see.
Yeah, right. We're gonna get in trouble, Rakuten.
Yeah. Interesting. Hmm. Yeah.
Well, I did want to make sure, first of all, we can't have a home ownership credit card account without our discussion without discussing the built card. So I want to get there, but then I
Hmm.
think after that, definitely want to talk about, maybe from a lot of our perspective, like how do we prepare financially for owning a home? So like for someone who's thinking about buying a house, like I want to get into like, what do you need to do, right? So before we do that, let's talk about the built MasterCard. And I feel like I'm definitely the least qualified to talk about this card because I think I'm the only one in this group that doesn't have it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So, Calby, take it
Right.
away. What can you do with this card as a homeowner?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I've had the built card ever since the beta test. So that was pretty cool having the first experience with the built card.
Hmm.
Also having some sketchy experiences with the built card. But recently, I actually used the built card quite a bit for this home purchase. So there's two benefits that I tried to maximize: the home ownership concierge. That kind of fell through. I got the email, got the contact, but ultimately they weren't able to help me with much. And actually, I emailed them maybe like a month before my closing date, and they emailed me back on the day of closing, and they're like, "Sorry, we didn't get your email, but here's all the stuff we can help with." Definitely, I want to talk more in depth
Wow.
later in that. But the second benefit I utilized was the down payment. Cashing out your points for a down payment up to, well, it is 1.5 cents per point, and that was really interesting. I believe I had like 50,000 built points at that time, and I cashed out, got $700, and that amount, that down payment like check, doesn't count as a gift. So I thought that was really interesting.
Wow, that is nice.
Huh. Definitely. Yeah, and you did a good amount, right, with that, Calby? Like a good amount of points.
Yeah, it was like 50,000 points, so I believe it was like a $750. Of course, if I was actually, good in saving up those build points, definitely would have helped out quite a bit. I put down only 3% for my down payment, which ended up being about $12,000 for my home. And, that was a good chunk, almost $1,000 just from credit card points alone. Pretty good.
That's amazing.
Definitely. Definitely.
So it sounds like basically someone who is renting right now and wants to own a home, by using the built card, essentially they're able to kind of save up for a down payment for a house. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, basically. And
That's
the
amazing.
built card has like amazing multipliers. 3% back on dining, which a lot of renters do. I feel like spend on, especially a lot of renters are in the cities. It's just easier to eat out, especially young professional travel. 2x on everything, and then 1x on everything else, and then putting those purchases on rent day, making those double 6% back. 6x back on dining, 4x on travel, and 2x on everything else. I don't think it can be beat.
That's astounding. Yeah. Wow, I'm gonna have to get me one of
Yeah, right. Get on it.
those. What about you, Anthony? What do you think about your built card?
Yeah, the bill card, it's great because mostly in the way that I've been able to use it over the course of owning it was, um, well, yeah, we won't mention the initial reason why I got it because of Calby and Gotcha effect and all that. But what the card eventually turned into, and at least the value for me was, um, getting into Built's ecosystem because and even though you can just have a built card, like a built account without having the built card, and you could do what I'm about to talk about. Getting the built card and getting familiar with the system allowed me to be okay with it and just like understand just how it all works in the back end. And I know they have some really interesting things that they're starting to deploy now that I'll talk about in a second. But one of the main things was I never really used it that much for its multipliers as much. Like I used it in the beginning, and I did a lot of the dining, and I did the rent day, and I've been able to work it to where I pay cash for hotels, and like the checkout day happened to be the first of the month, so I was able to get 4x back for travel and stuff like that. So I was like, that's pretty good. Pay with the Built card before they nerfed it a little bit and had like caps and stuff like that. But the one way that I've really, and I talked about it earlier, which was I used the Built program, like the website and the back end, to allow me to pay my rent for the year that I was renting and use any credit card that I wanted. So I was using Built's program and paying the rent with like I don't know, like if I had a retention offer on an Amex Gold back then, okay, I used it on that. Well, I got 6 different Inc. credit cards last year. Every single month was being put towards those Inc. cards, and they do charge you a fee for that, 3%. However, the amount of money that I was being charged was like maybe an extra of max $50 per month. So at the end of the year, it's like $600 that I paid in excess fees, but I ended up getting back like a 500,000 chase points, which is worth like $5,000 cash minimum. So that was
Wow.
the way I was able to use the Built program to kind of maximize the amount of either cashback earning or just points earning for future vacations. So I've loved it for that because the Built card is what got me in the Trojan horse to the whole back end of Built, and I've loved it for that immensely, and it paid for itself so many times over. So not necessarily the build card itself. However, I will say also with build that I think is pretty interesting from the perspective of a realtor is if you are going to buy a house and you want to use built's recommended agent, EXP agent specifically, you could buy a house with their specific agent and you can get 1 point per $2 spent on the home purchase itself. So if you have a $500,000 house that you're going to buy, if you buy it through Built's homeownership program and they give you an agent, you'll get 250,000 bill points for that purchase, which is like the first time in history that anything like that has ever been possible. So I think Built's definitely changing the world, with at least the credit card points and miles world with that. And it actually makes me want to change my brokerage over to EXP just so I can be an agent that can facilitate that with Built. I think it would be pretty interesting thing to do. So I might call them actually and see what the deal is with that. Maybe I can become a Built agent, and if you guys want to buy a house, get you some Built points for it. Definitely. I mean, I guess on the Built card as well, to close out, I will say the Built dining has been a little bit beneficial in some cases. I remember when Calby was hanging out with Calby in Washington, D.C., they have a lot of Built dining restaurants there, and we were able to stack the Built dining of like an extra 3x back in Built points with like my Amex Gold, which was getting 4x back at the time when I had the card. And just being able to stack more and more Built points, which is like one of the most valuable currencies to earn and one of the hardest to earn, I think is they allow a lot of opportunities to earn in those types of ways. So yeah, the Built card is pretty powerful for everything that the program offers, I would say. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really powerful. I'm glad you talked about the neighborhood thing, because in Orlando, it seems like the Built neighborhood play system is actually less like full compared to like JetBlue Dining or some of the other kind of dining portals, which is interesting. So I haven't really been able to see a lot of benefit, but it sounds like in Washington, there's kind of some wide open options.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Calby knows all about them. Calby loves his DC and dining.
Oh yeah.
I love some DC dining too.
Right. DC has the best food. It's kind of crazy. This is a little bit off topic, but if you ask a DC local that, do you know that Indian curry pizza is only like in this area? They're like, what are you talking about? That's like standard. And I'm like, yeah, you would think it would be a thing, but no.
Awesome. So we talked about Built, and I got to talk about the Mesa card a little bit. So Mesa actually has, I think they actually copied kind of the Built program where you're talking about refinancing. But if you actually, so they just rolled it out in Florida. If you refinance with Built, or Mesa rather, you actually get 1 point per dollar on the total refinance amount, which is nice. So for us, that would be like 300,000 points off the top if we were to do that. Now it needs to make sense otherwise financially, but because I think we're at like 5.25 on our rate right now. But if it were to go down, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, with that refinancing, what's stopping you from like refinancing every year and just stacking up those points?
That's a good question. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I would imagine the closing costs would kind of be the operating factor there. But if it made sense, then yeah. I mean, if it made sense where you could actually like buy those points and you had good redemption options, then yeah, I could see that making sense.
So wait, Mesa itself has I think I missed that. It has its own.
So it's like a network.
tool?
Yeah. So basically, what you do is you sign up. So they actually have a program where they give you 1,000 Mesa points for agreeing to have a meeting. And then you basically they have a wide variety of different kind of lenders. And so you can compare offers and go with the best one. And then as long as you go through like a lender that's actually on their portal, then yeah, you get the points.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
And they've really been hitting that hard. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. When I was looking to finance a home and everything, I actually called the Mesa people, and they're mortgage brokers, I believe. That's the term it's called. And they were talking to me about all the benefits and everything. So, yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I ended up not doing them just because I went with Navy Federal. They didn't charge any origination loans.
That's
pretty
nice.
good rate.
All right. Well, I guess that's all of our so far on homeownership. So I'm sure we're definitely, as time progresses, we'll have some more tips that we like to bring to you guys. But thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah. If you need a realtor, just hit your boy up, scan the QR code, and I'll help you find a realtor in your state. If you don't live in South Carolina, I'll find you a realtor. Or if you live in South Carolina, nice to meet you. We'll we'll find a house together.
There you go.
So
There you go. But also get an extra wallet too. These things are pretty awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Calby, do you have anything you'd like to shill?
Plug.
No,
Yeah.
I'm trying to look around. I got Uncrustables. Uncrustables.
There
are
you
really
go.
good.
Yeah, Uncrustables. Well, your shirt, you got the merch. You
Oh,
can
right.
buy that shirt.
Yeah.
Sure.
All the shirts, right?